Talk about great leadership on this show. We often think of the big names, don't we? And it's always the people that are really in our lifetime, whether that be a president in your country, somebody that inspired you, or simply they don't have to inspire you, but they certainly left a mark, didn't they, on the world. Now, that could be said, of course, for the Right Honourable late Mrs. Thatcher. From Grantham, a grocer's daughter who rose to the highest echelons of becoming our British Prime Minister, the first ever female British Prime Minister to win 3 terms. Now, as many people know, I was lucky enough to meet her on a couple of occasions. She came to the studios, in fact, on one of her very last visits to record a special tribute to the broadcaster Sir David Frost. You see, she was kind to people, whatever people think. Now, it's interesting to note that over here in the United Kingdom, the once celebrated museum, the Victoria and Albert, have decided to put Margaret Thatcher somewhere that even I think she would feel uncomfortable with. As ever, let me explain. Morning, good to see you today. Thank you so much as ever for your time. Nice to have your company. Yes, by the way, can we just say that Miss Emma Brown is now, here's the front picture. You know, the other day, I think it's Granny Gnome who sent me the picture. I'm terrible when I get these handles wrong, I know. But she sent me a wonderful picture of Miss Emma watching me on the screen. And I said it'd be lovely if we could see the picture the other way around. So she's shown us. Now, what a delightful face. You couldn't really forgive that face, could you? I mean, you'd just give them anything if they were begging for snack. Beautiful, beautiful picture. Keep your paw on the dial, Miss Emma, is what I'm saying. You've got excellent taste. Back as ever to your story of the day. Now, what's interesting here, as I say, is Mrs. Thatcher, really divided a lot of people. But, of course, a brilliant Prime Minister. Now, over the Victoria and Albert Museum, they've decided to put her in the area of villains, alongside people like Adolf Hitler. Can you imagine? I mean, really, she would be very upset by that. Now, the reason why I highlight this is a few years back now, the V&A declined to actually have given certain memorial pieces from the Thatcher Foundation, certain clothing that Mrs. Thatcher wore on very big days, whether that be meeting the Queen or indeed meeting President Reagan. The pictures that we all know and we all remember. They didn't want them. No. So they were sold off for charity and good causes. You see where this is going. Now, you would have thought that the Victoria and Albert Museum, who are desperate for donations and are always looking for money, and more so now than ever after their recent flops of various sort of exhibitions, they would think to themselves, well, Mrs. Thatcher may have divided people, but she certainly was a Great Britain, whichever way you look at it. I've worked at the V&A. Snotty is not the word. I was lucky enough to be asked to host an evening with Michael Crawford CBE to celebrate an anniversary of Phantom of the Opera. Wow, these people were so up themselves, honestly. We had a riot of a night, but a very snotty-nosed woman said to me, we don't want any questions about Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. It's all about Phantom. Do keep it on board. First question from the audience, a lady from Doncaster. Michael, she said, what was Some Mothers Do Have 'Em like to make? Of course, crowd went in uproar. This is what they wanted. Michael was delightful. They loved him. The V&A, would I recommend doing anything there? Personally, not, no. And the reason I highlight this is that, clearly they don't know their audience. People come from all walks of life. It's a wonderful building. There's no two ways about it. But as ever, the Wokarati are deciding whether you and I should see exhibitions of things that may appeal to people who love history. Who are they to decide whether Mrs. Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, the Right Honourable first ever female British Prime Minister, should be alluded to be in the same area of the villains like Adolf Hitler? Do you agree? I'll tell you what I think about the V&A, and I think you know. Do let me know, like and share, and as ever, keep it sweet, keep it clean, but I'd love to know your comments. Neil Sean, Kensington Park, London.